Okay, so this story is called The Porch Light. Hold on, I'm actually going to try and not be super dyslexic, and I'm gonna increase my zoom level on my on my browser. Oh my god, I feel so old. Hydrate? Okay, okay. Concerning sounds of non-visible water, I'm pissing. Just imagine me pissing, guys. That's all you need. Anyway. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. And spooky story. That's the spookiest thing I know you guys have heard, but that's a clip. No, please, no. Oh, wait. I'm so glad this isn't ASMR. I would have already fucked up. It's definitely fucking hell. Nope. Don't clip it, guys. Fucking hell. Okay. Well. I'm like smiling so much. I need to not smile. I need to lock in. We're scary stories, guys. I need to be spooky. You guys are insane. I can't. Newt, why? Okay, so this story is called The Porch Light. It's in r/scarystories, and the user is Dude It's Brian. I work from home. I want to say that up front because it matters later, and because I don't want you to think I'm someone who wasn't around. I was around. I was always around. That's the thing. I was 10 feet from my window 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, and I could see his house from my desk if I turned my head even a little. I could see it without trying. I saw it every day. His name was Gene Walcott. I know that now. I didn't know it then. I moved to Dresher, Ohio, 2 years because the rent was $400 a month and I could do my job from a folding table as long as the Wi-Fi held. I do UX work. I redesign the way buttons, look on apps you probably used. It pays fine. It doesn't matter. What matters is I picked this town the way you'd pick a shirt off of a clearance rack. It was cheap and it fit, and I didn't have to think about it. I wasn't looking for a community. I was looking for a place to sit down. The house next to mine had a man in it, old. I'd seen him on his porch some mornings when I went out to get the mail. Sorry. that fucking got me right there. It's just that it says old. Like, it's just the word old with a period, and I don't know why that made me laugh. Reading that was really funny. Okay, let me Sorry. I'd see him on his porch some mornings when I went out to get the mail, which was the only reason I went outside most days. He'd be sitting in a green chair, plastic, the kind that cost $6 at the hardware store. He had a coffee mug, but I never saw him drink from it. He just held it. He would look at me, and I would look at him, and one of us would nod. I don't remember which of us started that, or if it was always both of us at the same time. It was the smallest possible unit of human acknowledgement. Less than a wave, just a movement of the head that said, I see that you're there. I never introduced myself, and he never introduced himself. This did not strike me as unusual because nothing about it was unusual. That's how things are. You live 8 feet from a person, close enough to hear them cough through a wall on a quiet night, and you don't know their name, and it doesn't occur to you that you should. The first thing I noticed was the porch light. Gene's porch light was on a timer or a switch or something. It came on at dusk and went off in the morning. I don't know when I learned that rhythm, but I did, the way you learn the sound of a refrigerator. You don't hear it until it changes. One morning in October, I looked out the window, and the porch light was still on, and it was 10 in the morning. Bright day. The light looked sick against the daylight, that pale orange that electricity makes when it has to compete with the sun. I thought, huh. I went back to work. The next day, it was still on. The day after that, I want to tell you that I was worried, but the truth is, I wasn't. The truth is, I noticed it the way you notice a typo in a headline. Mild irritation at a thing being wrong. I'd assume he'd gone somewhere. His daughter's house? The hospital? I don't know. I don't even know if he had a daughter. I don't know anything about him. The recycling bin was the second thing. Drescher does recycling pickups on Tuesday. Jean's blue bin had been at the curb since the previous Tuesday, empty, starting to collect rainwater. It sat there through the weekend, through next Tuesday, through the weekend after that. I took my bin in, and I took my bin out. His bin didn't move. It just stood there, filling with water and the slow yellow scum that collects on still water in the fall. Here's what I did about it. Nothing. Here's the list of things I did instead. I answered emails. I moved a button 3 pixels to the left on a screen that a million people would look at and none of them would notice. I ordered Thai food from a place 20 minutes away because the driver would leave it on the porch and I wouldn't have to talk to anyone. I watched 4 episodes of a show that I can't remember the name of. I went to bed. I did this for days. I did this while the porch light burned and the bin filled, and Gene Walcott sat in his house in a condition I'm going to describe to you now because I owe him that. Thank you for the follow. Because someone should say it out loud, even if it's just me, and even if it's too late for it to matter. He was in his recliner. He'd been there for approximately 19 days. The coroner estimated between 17 and 21, so let's say 19, because it's in the middle, and because precision feels like the least I can do. 19 days in a chair in a room, in a house in a town where I lived 8 feet away and turned my head to look at his porch light every morning and turned back. I wasn't the one who found him. A kid found him. 15, maybe 16, lives on the block over. They were cutting through Jean's yard, and something about a shortcut to the gas station, and they smelt it. I don't know exactly what happened next. I know the kid knocked on the side door and it opened because it wasn't locked. I know that they went in. I know they came out and sat on Jean's porch steps and didn't call anyone for a while. They just sat there. Someone told me later that the kid didn't have their phone out the whole time, just sat with their hands on their knees and looked at the street. I was at my desk when the cop cars came, 2 of them, and then an ambulance, and there was no hurry. Then a van from the country. I watched from my window. I stood up from my desk and I watched them go in and I watched them come out. I saw one of the paramedics, a young guy, step off the porch and put his hands on his hips and breathe through his mouth for a while, the way you do when you're trying to get a taste out of your throat. Nobody knocked on my door. Nobody came over to ask if I knew him, if I'd seen anything, if I'd noticed when the porch light stopped making sense. I think the cops talked to a few people on the street, but I wasn't one of them. I was right there, and I was not one of them. I don't know how to explain it except to say that I had already become invisible in a way that Jean was invisible. Not through any dramatic act of disappearance, just through the slow accumulation of closed doors and unanswered moments, and the exposed brick wall behind my desk that looked good on Zoom calls. I found out his name from the local Facebook group. Someone posted about it. Sad news on Merriweather Street. 14 comments. 2 of them were heart emojis. One was a woman who said that she'd gone to high school with Jean's ex-wife, and it wasn't just terrible. 3 people said that they were praying. Nobody said that they've known him. Nobody said that they talked to him recently. The post was between a photo of someone's new deck and a warning about a coyote spotted nearby the elementary school. It accrued 23 reactions in 2 days, and then the algorithm buried it under a debate about a proposed Dollar General. I read every comment, but I didn't leave one. That night I wrote about it, not for the Facebook group. I opened a blank document and I wrote about Jean's porch light, and the recycling bin, and the 19 days, and the kid on the steps, and the paramedic breathing through his mouth. I wrote about the nod, the smallest possible unit of human acknowledgement. I wrote for 2 hours. It was the most I'd written about anything real in years. Most of what I write is copy for software interfaces. Microcopy, it's called. Little phases that tell you where to click. Get started. Learn more. You're all set. 3-word sentences designed to move people through a process without making them think. I finished writing and I sat there. I almost posted it somewhere. I could feel the pull of it. The need to put it in front of strangers so it can become something other than just mine. Strangers are easy to talk to. Strangers don't require you to be a person with a history and a smell and a body that takes up place. You give them the words and they give you the reaction and everyone goes home. which is to say everyone was already home, which is to say nobody went anywhere at all. I closed the laptop. I didn't post it. I'm posting it now, which means something changed between that night and this one, and I wanted to tell you what that was. The country cleaned Jean's house out on Thursday. Professional service, the kind that deals with situations like his. White van, 2 guys in coveralls, industrial fans in the windows for 3 days, and then a lockbox on a door and a sign in the yard from a realty company out of Columbus. The porch light was off. Someone had finally turned it off, or the bulb had finally died. And the house was empty, and the yard was empty, and the green chair was gone. I sat at my desk and I turned my head. I looked at that dark porch where the light used to be, and I had this thought. I am 8 feet from that house. I sit here every day. If I stopped sitting here, how long would it take? How many days before that porch light question was about my house? Who's on the other side of my wall listening for sounds that have stopped? Nobody. That's the answer, and I knew it before I finished asking. I went through my phone that night. My recent calls. 4 in the last month. All work. My texts. 2 group chats that I'd muted, and a thread with my sister that I'd left on read 11 days earlier. She'd sent a photo of her dog. I hadn't responded. Not because I didn't care, because I'd seen it and I felt a small warmth of it, and I'd been enough. I didn't need to close the loop. The warmth was sufficient. And I realized sitting there that this is what it looks like. Not a dramatic severing, not a breakdown or a fight, or a slower door slam shut. Just the slow, impregnable decision that warmth received is the same as warmth exchanged. That seeing the photo is the same as responding to it. That nodding at the old man is the same as knowing his name. It isn't. It isn't, and I knew it then, and I know it now. And Gene Walcott is dead, and I kept his porch light on in my head. Burning past morning, and it doesn't help him, but it's what I have. I looked at my front door that night. I tried to remember someone knocking on it who wasn't delivering food. I couldn't. I tried to remember the last time I knocked on someone else's. My door has a deadbolt and a chain, and a peephole. I've never once looked through it because there's never been anyone on the other side. I locked it that night the way I lock it every night. I turned off the lights, and I went to bed. My porch light is on a timer. It comes on at dusk and goes off in the morning. I think it does. I haven't checked it from the outside in a while. I don't know what it looks like from the street. I don't know what any of this looks like from the street. If this stops making sense, I need you to understand something. Nobody will notice. And that's the end. I wasn't expecting the end of that one. I got very natural at it. Oh, shucks, no. I don't think so. I need Silent Hill music playing in the background listening to this writing. Oh shit. I didn't think of Silent Hill. See, I did this because you guys were like, oh, it'll help us relax. If I do Silent Hill, you guys are going to be like shitting yourselves. I did a very good job. Yippee. I'm glad. I gotta find another one. I'm looking through now. I need to drink some tea though. You like this ambiance? You can always change it up next time too. You guys can always give me ideas. I'm totally down for that. Oh, this one looks interesting. How long is this one? Let me see. Oh, this one's pretty short. Okay. We'll do this one. So this is from the user Trash Tia. My cousin saw the farm inside of our basement. Hide and seek, our yearly tradition. Every summer, our cousins stayed over, and 4 of us would play a massive game of hide and seek in Mom's beach house. 5 floors, 8 bedrooms, and unlimited hiding places. At 16, I was determined to win. You can do anything to get your spot, Johnny, my eldest cousin, announced, grinning. My brother Felix looked skeptical, while our cousin Faye giggled. Johnny jumped onto Mom's cabinet. Nothing is off the table, my dear cousins. Sorry, what cousin says that? When Faye, the seeker, thundered upstairs shouting, Ollie, Ollie, oxen free! I darted towards the basement door, yanked it open, and ran straight onto Johnny. Remembering his rules of anything goes, I staggered back. But to my surprise, he didn't move. Ghost, he whispered. Johnny grabbed my hand, pulling me back through the door. He was pale, trembling. There's a fucking ghost down there! He came close, so close that his breath trickled my face. She was wearing a bloody dress, had long blonde hair, and she was like, wailing. What's going on? Felix, who was hiding in the pantry, stuck his head through the door. Why aren't you hiding? I stepped back, folding my arms. Is this some kind of prank? What? Johnny shook his head. No, there was a woman, and she was crawling up the stairs. She was wearing these bloody clothes, and I think she was pregnant. Oh, sure, my brother laughed. His lips curled into a smirk. Was she wearing a black veil, too? Crying blood? Johnny's eyes darkened. I know what I saw, asshole. Found you! Faye jumped out at us. What are you guys doing? Felix rolled his eyes. Johnny saw a ghost, apparently. Which is bullshit, I added. Johnny stepped back. You know what? Whatever. Fuck this. I'm going home. He left, dragging Faye with him. When they were gone, Felix let out a breath. Do you think he saw... I didn't speak as I pushed through the door and descended down the concrete steps. The room was bathed in a white light. Rows of hospital beds stretched before us, each one occupied by a sleeping woman, their pregnant bellies swelling under the thin hospital scrubs. A trail of blood caught my eye, leading to a bed at the far end. I didn't know her name. Her hair was golden, cascading down to her tailbone. Her eyes were half-lidded, lips parted in a silent cry. Mom was very clear, I said, sliding a pistol from my jeans pocket. If one of them is compromised, shoot them in the head. And save the stomach, Felix finished. He pivoted, taking aim. I called Mom. Hey, honey, how's it going? Are you kids having fun? Her voice crackled in my ear, just as Felix took the shot. Mommy, I said, turning away from the blood. I heard her breath catch, panic. Yes, sweetheart. My brother was already preparing to deliver the child. I took a deep breath. Johnny saw the farm. And that's it. That's the end of that one. Also a very good one. I like how short that one was. I wasn't expecting that either. Like, the kids being in on it? What? That's crazy. Let's see. There has to be a good one. Yeah, it was really good. People are crazy at writing. I love a good writing story. I like that one. That one is really good, yeah. I'm like, the thing is, I'm not really good at doing different voices for characters, but I can adjust. Let's see. Let's find another one. Oh, this one looks cool. All right, this one's a bit longer, so I'll take a drink of my tea. I think you're doing good. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna have to pee so bad. Real talk. The water in the background and then me drinking. Wild. Okay. I had more tea. If you find any glitch in the Matrix ones, those are my fave. Oh, okay. I'll try and look out for that. I don't think I know any stories like that, so I don't know what to, like, look out for, but I will do. So this is also from... Oh my god, it's Trash Tia again. Okay. The title. I just woke up in my school bathroom. There's something wrong with my classmates. The last place I was expecting to wake up was in the school bathroom. Opening my eyes, I found myself uncomfortably slumped against the stall door, a thumping pain in the back of my head. Prickly white light glared down at me. My memories were foggy. What was I doing before this? I unhooked the latch and pushed the door open. Clinical white hit my eyes, and I swallowed a groan. The girls' bathroom was too bright, a seemingly endless expanse of liminal white stretching above me. I blinked. Weren't there 5 stalls in the girls' bathroom? In the corner of my eye, a 6th stuck out at the end of the row, leading into obscurity. Striding over to the mirror, I checked myself over, running my hands through my hair. I checked my phone. No service. Of course not. According to my lock screen, it was 2:12 in the afternoon. But tipping my head back, the window above the stalls was pitch black. I checked my text. 2 from Mom. I was mid-typing. I must have forgotten about texting her back. Mom. June, can you call me? Right now. I responded, or I started to respond with, Hey Mom, I'm in the girls' bathroom. 3 ellipses popped up indicating that she was typing, but a message never came through. I checked the time. 2:12. There's something strangely terrifying about the light in the bathroom. A sterile, clinical glare that I couldn't seem to look away from. I'd never seen anything like it. As if the light was alive, buzzing, filling eerie silence, I left the girls' bathroom, pushing my way out into the hallway. The lights were still on, a dim glow illuminating the line of lockers. Empty. Not even a single janitor could unlock the door, which was what I was hoping for. I moved towards the exit doors at the end when shuffling footsteps started behind me. I darted behind a block of lockers, sticking my head out. Come on, Cole, a voice hummed. We're almost there. Cole Harper, an upperclassman, appeared, shuffling down the hallway. I recognized his varsity jacket and thick, dark curls. He once strolled through school with a shit-eating grin on his face. Now he dragged himself along, arms limp at his sides, half-lidded eyes fixed on the oblivion ahead. Miss Wednesday, my English teacher, held him by the shoulders, gently guiding him down the corridor. Cole! I hissed, and his eyes briefly found mine. Before looking away, his jaw clenched. Cole, can you tell me again what I told you? Miss Wednesday was usually the embodiment of sunshine. Early 30s, always smiling. My friends and I used to laugh at her strict, prissy ponytail. Now her hair lay loose on her shoulders. Her expression was dark. Her grip on him was tight, unrelenting. Cole, she whispered, repeat what I said. That everything is going to be okay. Cole's voice was emotionless. He started forward again, tripping over himself, and she caught him quickly. That's right, the teacher hummed. I don't want to go in there. Cole's voice broke. He backed away, but the teacher's hands were firm on his shoulders. I can't. You'll feel better, Miss Wednesday said. I promise you. I watched them reach the end of the hallway. The teacher opened the doors to the auditorium and gently led Cole inside. Slipping out of my hiding place, my heart was thudding in my chest. What could our English teacher possibly want with Cole Harper? I followed, unable to stop myself, pressing my ear against the door. Voices. Multiple voices. I lurched back when a striking pain cut across the back of my head. June? The voice caught me off guard, slicing through me. I twisted around to find my best friend further down the corridor, sitting against her locker with her knees pulled up to her chest. Ophelia. Willowy blonde hair strayed from her usual style. Ophelia sat with her chin resting on her knees, blinking rapidly at me, eye glitter speckled under her eye catching the light. I choked back a laugh. Wait! I knelt in front of her. I pretended not to see her flinch when I got closer, her lips parting. You got locked in too? I laughed. Did you wait for me? She frowned, but before she could speak, I couldn't stop myself. Did you know there's a weird after-school cult going on in the auditorium? I lowered my voice. Dude, Cole Harper was just forced in there. It was so crazy. There are others. Miss Wednesday is a part of it, and I think it's like brainwashing. I only stopped talking, choking on my words, when I noticed the raw red tinge around my best friend's eyes. Dried lines of liquid eyeliner tracing jagged paths down her porcelain skin. Have you been crying? Ophelia grabbed her backpack, swiping angrily at her eyes. No, she whispered. Her eyes met mine, almost scrutinizing, before her lips curled into a small smile. It's Danny, she said, finally, sniffling. I broke up with him. Ophelia let out an explosive laugh that choked into a sob. I guess. I'm sorry, I said, and she nodded, seeming distracted. Listen, June, I've gotta go, okay? Ophelia smiled again and hugged me tight, nipping into my shoulder. I should get out of here. Ophelia pulled away. I'm supposed to go into the auditorium, but I think I just want to go home. Well, can we go together? I spoke up. Maybe we can get Dairy Queen? Sorry, that's so random. Ophelia didn't turn back, her footsteps fading down the hallway. Bye, June, she called. Love you, girl. Wait! I only stopped when I saw the carnivorous hole in the back of her head. Dried red staining on the back of her shirt. Something cruel sliced through me, and slowly, my hand found the back of my head, the source of my headache. June? This Wednesday's warm hand found my shoulder. Come with me. That's the end of that one. I did think something was up because, you know, the slicing comment, I thought that was weird, but I didn't expect that. Crazy. Oh my god, hi Robin. I'm sat for story time now. Hi. Hello. Hi Oso. Yeah, I'm gonna be a little bit locked in, so if I don't respond, I'm very sorry. I feel like I've been like uber locked in all day today. Let's see. Good twist, yeah. I vibe with these. Let's see, this one. That one's kind of long, which is fine. I don't mind it being long. I'm just gonna keep looking. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, this one, I think this one looks good. We'll do this one next. I'll drink some tea first. My only regret was not being here sooner. Work got busy for a bit right as stream started. Oh no, it's okay. Not like I don't stream for a few hours anyway. Walking into the task, for real. Thank you, Afreen, I appreciate you. I appreciate you too, Juan. Just anyone, like, you guys interacting with one another while I read. It means a lot. You're doing my job. For real, for real. I'm gonna try not to kill my voice. Obviously, like, I'm used to talking a lot when I stream, but I think stories are a bit different because when I play games, I can stop talking whenever I want. I kind of have to, like, lock in, you know? Okay, I'm gonna drink a little bit more tea and then we'll get started. Dude, I'm gonna have to pee so bad. Hydrate often, for real. I don't want to miss any stories. I'm gonna have to go back in the VOD. I'm gonna upload it to YouTube, so I'm gonna cut it down so you don't have to skip around as well. If you're interested. I am recording, so we can upload it after. Take breaks? Yeah, I'll take breaks in between. I'm choosing stories that aren't too long as well. Okay. So this is from No Fucks to Give. 2 with a 0, by the way. And the title is The Creature That Replaced Mom. At 4:30 p.m., as is my routine every school day, I burst through the door and slam it shut, screaming, "Mom, I'm home!" Unlike usual, I did not get a response back. The floor is cool beneath my feet as I kick off my shoes and walk to the kitchen. Nothing. Not even my lunch on the countertop. Strange. I proceed to their bedroom, pushing the door open and calling out again. Mom! There's no one here. The room is neat and everything is just as it should be, as Mom makes sure that it is. With a faint feeling of unease, I head into my own room to change my clothes and begin my homework. Hours pass. My homework is complete. I'd gotten something to snack on while doing my homework. Now I'm scrolling through social media, laughing occasionally, and my eyes flick to the top of my screen. The time is 7:50. Dad will be home soon. In less than 20 minutes, as I predicted. I hear a knock and in comes my dad. He engulfs me in a hug as I run to him. Hey, kiddo. he says as he ruffles my hair. Where's your mom? I don't know. I haven't seen her since I returned. He gives me an odd look on his face, and then he brings out his phone and starts dialing her number. Shoot, why didn't I think of that? I retreat to my bedroom because regardless, the uneasiness, I'm beginning to feel sleepy. My dreams are starting to take form when I wake suddenly. I hear it, her voice in the living room with my dad. They continue talking as I walk in. He's embracing her, relief on his face, saying how he almost called the police. She then explains how she went to the grocery store in the late afternoon and after that, stopped by her friend's house where she somehow fainted. An ambulance was called and she'd been in the hospital since. That friend didn't have my father's number to reach him, and my mom was unconscious for most of the time that she was absent. Oh well, I'm glad she's back. She hugs me too and plants a kiss on my forehead, and then says it's alright and that I should go to bed. So I do. Ever since that night, Mom hasn't been the same. For all of my life, she's been strict about routines, so every day is almost the same, but not anymore. Since that night, she never wakes me up on time for school, so I have to depend on my alarms. By the time I'm done bathing, she'd have started breakfast, which is usually some undercooked or overcooked pancakes or just cereal, as she's always feeling tired or sleepy, or both. On the weekends, I notice that she rarely even eats, and when she does, it doesn't stay down for even 20 minutes before she's rushing to the bathroom to throw up. Dad doesn't seem to notice these changes anyway. He's always at work. Now Mom has begun to increase in size. I used to hear her talk about diets. She's been on the exact same one since forever, but she now seems to be gaining a bit of weight. I know why. I don't think she's my mother. She's a vile creature pretending to be my mom. And no, it is slowly feeding on my soul. I must get rid of it. So I begin to devise a plan. I read that monsters are killed through silver and garlic. It doesn't seem to react to the garlic powder or my mother's silver jewelry. On the night of the execution, I waited 2 hours after the creature tucked me into bed, just to make sure it was asleep, and then I tiptoed into the kitchen and I readied my weapons. Reaching for a pointy, sharp knife, I set on the counter and grabbed the garlic powder, and I sprinkle it generously on both sides. Sorry. I tiptoe back to my parents' bedroom, and I plunge the knife straight into the sleeping creature's chest. That ought to do it. As I stand there cackling maniacally, watching the creature groan and writhe on the bed, Dad walks in from his study. He must be proud of me, I think to myself. I've saved us from it. I look up at him, feeling happy, but as I register the look on his face, I begin to feel the first grains of regret. That's crazy. Yeah, it's over now, sorry. What in the Southeast Asian? That's so funny. I wasn't expecting, like, I'm gonna take out this knife and I'm gonna put, garlic powder all over it and stab someone. I mean, go off. Like, it's still a good story, man. I like when stories can make me giggle. Mom's dead. Mom died. That's how some of the Southeast Asian monsters are slayed. Oh, that's pretty cool, though. So this is from Goth Mommy. Mommy spelled M-O-M-I. Love it. My dog keeps bringing home human bones, and they aren't coming from where I thought. Dolly, my dog, is passionate about bones. She often runs around the yard, moving her bone from one hole to another, rarely leaving it in the same spot for long. After work one day, I watched her routine from my chair and called her over when she barked at a noise from beyond the fence. She brought her bone to me, placed it on my lap, and then retrieved it and ran off again. Dolly never brings her bone inside. She always stores it in the holes that she dug. When I returned indoors, Dolly followed, stopping for water before accompanying me through the house. She is loyal and affectionate with me, but cautious around strangers, especially visitors or yard workers. Dolly, a strong terrier and pit bull mix, is energetic and curious on walks and enjoys attention from others. Her protective instincts only emerge when someone enters our home. Dolly followed me into my bedroom and curled up onto the small donut shape, falling asleep in her comfort zone. I climbed into bed and curled up at my legs instead of the other side. When I woke up, Dolly woke up as well. As I used the bathroom, she went wild on the bed, tossing blankets upside down. She was a weirdo. I let her outside and gave her food before making coffee. I thought through my day as usual, focusing on getting back home. Work was frustrating, and all I wanted was a shower and to watch TV. I let Dolly inside. At first, she set her bone down in one of her holes, and then she ran to me. She was always excited to see me when I returned. I went to bed early, and Dolly curled up next to me as always. I felt well rested when I woke up with her by my side. She was truly my best friend, and I didn't spend time like this with anyone else. She was with me 95% of the day. I knew she loved me by the sweet affection and lap hugs as she settled on my fuzzy blanket. That was her favorite spot, a mound of fuzzy blankets. She never wanted to get off, so you'd have to pick her up or push her away as she ran with her tail between her legs. Sometimes I just needed a fully cleaned house, and my couch was the focus. It's not that she couldn't lie back down, she just wouldn't have a mound of blankets to return to. One night, when I came home from work, I decided to stay in. I tried to get Dolly to come inside, but she wouldn't leave a spot by one of her holes. I called her, but she didn't budge, so I left the light on for her. The next morning, I woke up alone and I checked on Dolly with a bowl of food. She didn't come to me. She just sat there, protective and alert. I set her food down and I went to work. Whatever she had in that hole, she was serious about it. When I returned, Dolly lay by her hole and put her food bowl, and her food bowl was empty. I had to catch her while she was eating to get close and to see inside the hole. The next morning, I put out her food and I watched her. I waited until midday when she finally went out for her bowl. I went out around the house, I opened the French doors to my bedroom, and I sneaked through the hole without drawing attention. I thought it was a joke when I saw what was inside. There were 4 connected vertebrae in the hole, stashed on a big mound of mud. I picked it up and turned it over, thinking that it was plastic, but it felt real as I rolled it between my fingers. I was too freaked out and I called the cops to report that my dog had human remains in my yard. They thought I was joking at first and then took me seriously and sent a squad. When the officers saw it, they put the evidence in a bag and walked me to my room. "You're going to want to pack," is all the officer said before leaving me alone with no answers. I found a hotel with a washer and a dryer, and during the 3 weeks I stayed there, I washed all of my belongings once a week, including the sheets and the blankets I brought from home. Who is it to trust these days? Dolly hated being inside and was neglecting her real chew bone completely. She didn't want anything to do with it or to even look at it. When we finally restored our yard and dug up the hole where her bone was, Dolly searched everywhere for it. She desperately dug but never found it. The poor dog whined for days until she stopped and returned to her usual self. This lasted about 3 days before she was back protecting her hole. I couldn't believe it. How was she digging up bones after the yard had been scoured? I went out and pushed Dolly aside, and she yapped and slobbered on me. I saw a hip bone and an entire pelvis, to be exact. I contacted the police again, resulting in another temporary relocation. Dolly seemed confused and distressed by the loss of her toys. The police found no further evidence and remained puzzled about the source of the bones. If you could follow your dog for a day, see where she leaves and see where she goes somewhere to get her treasures. The officer placed the hip bone into an evidence bag and then handed it to the other officer and removed his gloves. Call us back if this happens again. He nodded his head at me and my house was mine again. I went through the cycle with Dolly and I waited for a day when she was especially normal to follow her. A few boards were loose on my fence and Dolly left the yard whenever she wanted. I crawled on the ground, slowly following her as best as I could. I went through 2 fences before Dolly stopped in a yard and began digging under a gazebo. I watched her go past the concert and dig it down, and I saw the building and around the building to fetch another bone. I got Dolly and left that yard quickly, and then went home and told the police what I saw. The house was swarmed with officers within minutes, and the owner was arrested in front of his family. I fixed the fence where Dolly had been escaping, hoping these escapades were over, and returned to my routine. Dolly was normal and great to be around again. Months later, Dolly became protective of her hole and wouldn't let me near it, afraid that I would take it away. I caught a glimpse of a snapped femur and immediately stepped back. I went down the street and, just to be sure, I went behind the area that was picked clean. Wait, I went behind the police tape. Holy fuck, I skipped that completely, man. Holy fuck, my brain. I went behind the police tape into the backyard. The gazebo was gone, as was the concrete foundation that held the body. The area was picked clean, and I didn't understand how she got this bone. There was fresh dirt everywhere, and not a single hole to be witnessed. I went home and I let it be. I didn't know why this was happening, and I was tired of dealing with officials, so I let my dog keep her bone. What the heck? Eventually, she got comfortable enough to give it to me to hold for a moment. It was weird, but it was life, and I went with the flow. Then one day she came back with half of a skull, and by this time, there was no way it was coming from the house down the street. That house was already on the market and desperate to sell. The police would not have missed half a skull anyways. It was a large hunk, and in that yard with the remains, it did not have a single hole in it. I didn't understand how she was finding these human remains, but I was tired of asking questions, so I let Dolly be with her new chew toys, which she protected all hours of the day and night. That's so funny. What the heck? That dog has so many bones. That dog is killing people. Serial killing dog. What? Hi, Raider. Wait, where's Raider? Sorry. I'm trying to read chat now. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Hi, Rainer. Dude, my brain cannot function when I'm not looking at chat, and then I have to look at chat. Gotta lock in. Girl, your dog is finding murder victims, and you're like, you can have this femur. You can have this skull. Go crazy with it. For real. Okay, water time. So this is from Donovan221. There's something wrong with my daughter's new boyfriend. Look, I'm not some helicopter parent, alright? If anything, I'm more easygoing than most of my friends with children. That's probably what got us into this mess in the first place. My little girl is a handful, to say the least. Attitude problem, authority problem, lying problem. Still though, she's my little girl, my only child. It's my job to keep her safe and maintain a good relationship with her. However, once the boy problem started, it was borderline maddening. I actually had to put my foot down and not just tiptoe around the situation. The first few guys were, subpar. Not at all what I wanted for her. First, it was some stoner kid named Brandon who could barely keep his eyes open at our introduction dinner. Then it was this hotshot daddy's money type guy named Alex who, for the entire dinner, would not stop blatantly flirting with the waitress in front of all of us. I didn't even have to convince her to leave that one. She was so heartbroken that, as soon as the dinner was over, she pretty much demanded that he never text her again. Oh, and who could forget Bryce, the high school quarterback who showed absolutely no interest whatsoever in anything other than sports, workout routines, and protein. Just back-to-back red flags over the course of what I want to say was about a year and a half. After her latest interests failed, she actually took a break from guys, to my absolute relief. Focused on herself, she studied hard, brought her grades up to a B average. Got closer with the family. It was nice. It was like we had our little girl back. That is until she met Jacob. The thing about Jacob was, he was perfect. He had a good head on his shoulders. Dreams of college, aspirations to become an accountant, and he was already holding down a job at the local supermarket. He actually paid for our dinner, all four of us, like it was nothing. Not even just that, but the entire night, he was an absolute joy to be around. Charismatic, maintaining eye contact. He literally had the entire table laughing not even 30 minutes into the evening. It was all going so well that I didn't even flinch when my daughter planted a long kiss on his cheek before blushing and hurrying back to our car. Unlike with the other guys, she actually seemed to be in love with Jacob. I could see it in her eyes. Not to mention, in the 4 weeks since they started dating, there was a noticeable improvement in her attitude. She was maintaining her grades, being respectful, being honest, the whole shtick. I had silent hope for the boy. A part of me truly believed that finally, I wouldn't have to worry about my daughter getting the treatment she deserved. All of those hopes were shattered in an instant, though, because fuck it, of course they were. After my daughter had kissed him, Jacob didn't even seem to register what had happened. He just stood there, staring at me blankly. After what looked like a brief hesitation, he began walking in my direction, like he wanted to ask me something. Me, being the naive old dad that I am, thought that he was going to ask if they could go out again that next night. I was already mentally preparing my whole "have her home by 9" speech. Unfortunately, that is not how that went. As he approached, he drew his shoulders back, standing confidently in front of me, and the first words out of his mouth were enough to have me on the brink of punching him in the mouth. "You have a lovely daughter, sir. She's gonna sell for millions." That's crazy. That wasn't really scary. I thought he was gonna be a monster. What? What? I mean, yeah, punch him in the face, dude. Fucking just, I don't know, wring his neck. Ew, yeah, exactly, guys. Ew. What the heck? Barn bar? For real, for real. You already know. You already know. Full force? Yeah, exactly, chat. We're on the dad side. The true horror was the ending of that story. True. I mean, to be fair, I guess I can take, like, horror can be anything, right? We're squaring up? Yeah, like, I'm getting out of the car and I'm breaking your shins, man. My shins now, yoink. Okay, this one's really short. Hitting them in the shins with the good old yoinky splunky, yeah. That's my method, for real. So this is also from Donovan221. The tenant above me. I recently moved into a new apartment. Honestly, it might not sound like much to you, but to me, the moment was everything. I'm 22. Getting out of my folks' place was the highlight of my life so far. Unfortunately, noisy neighbors are more than an inconvenience. For starters, our building clearly states in the policy, no pets allowed. It's literally one of the first rules, written in bold print in the renter's agreement. So tell me why there's so much growling going on in the unit above me. My bad, bro, I'm streaming. Every night, the guttural rumbles come seeping in through my air vents. It keeps me up for hours. And trust me, I've tried talking to the guy. He just flat out ignores me. He refuses to even come to the door when I come knocking. Which I guess is fine. Annoying is fine. Thank you for the follow, demon. What's not fine is when he tries to intimidate me, showing up at my door with whatever animal he's been keeping hidden up there. The claw marks were a nice touch. Real classy. I tried complaining to the manager. I'm no snitch, but hey, if your door looked like something that had been gnawing on it, you'd complain too. What bothers me, though, wasn't the fact that the manager looked at me like I was insane. Like I was the one causing issues. Thank you for the follow, Scar. It was the fact that according to him, the unit above me has been vacant for years. Apparently, the last guy to rent the unit disappeared without a notice after completely destroying the apartment, ripping up the sofa and the curtains to shreds, splintering every cabinet in sight. Of course, when he told me this, my mind raced at 1,000 miles an hour. I decided to keep my distance from the unit altogether, and that was fine. I went a few weeks without any incidents. However, things began to pick up again. Specifically last night, when the vents began to shake from the grumbling growls. The floor began to vibrate as footsteps crept across the floor above me. My door began to warp as whatever was on the other side clawed at it like never before. As I watched in horror, the only thing I thought in my mind was, I'm so moving back to my parents. Oh, that one was so short. I could have read more about that one. I like that one a lot. Hi, Oni. Hi. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be reading chat if you guys are just popping in. Chat interaction is not going to be as good because obviously I'm reading, but I do appreciate you guys hanging out and being here. On break at work? Aw, no worries, Oni. Enjoy your lunch. Make sure you get something to eat and take it easy. Oh my god, hi Jason, welcome in. Oh wait, this one looks really fun. Let me see. Oh, never mind. It's quite long. Chat understands, and also chat is keeping each other busy. For real, for real. You guys are being awesome. I thought I saw one, then I scrolled past it. It's the nature of reading. No need to be sorry. You're literally reading stories for us, dog. We can wait for you to finish. But what if you can't wait for me to finish? What if you need a response right away? Oh, this one has, wait. This one has a lot. Okay. This one's good. Let me take a drink. Drink of my tea. Okay, so this is also from Donovan again. Donovan's like a crazy contributor in the subreddit. I think my son is a serial killer. I tried my best. I really fucking tried. I didn't want parenthood, but when it's given to you, hell, it's not hard to fall in love with it. It has its ups and downs, sure, but through it all, you learn to love your child. They're an extension of you, a part of yourself that you can try and mold into an even better version. Unfortunately, people aren't as clean-cut as that. You tell them to zig, and they zag. That's just how life is. Beyond the disagreements and head bumping, though, it's still possible to raise a kid. Bring them up right in the world. That's what I thought I was doing. My son was well-mannered, a gentleman, and God, did he have his way with the ladies. Once high school started, it seemed like every other week he was telling me about his new love, or how he was sure that this was the one. He was only 15, but who was I to cast doubt on whatever love life he found for himself? Plus, it all stayed at school. Having those cafeteria dates and what they have you. However, by 17, he was actually bringing girls over to meet us, have dinner with his mom and I. Now, I'm not the best with names, but I do remember faces quite well. That's why, when I started noticing the missing person flyers, I was quick to cock an eyebrow. But this is my son that we're talking about. The boy who I'd raised since I was a child myself. I was 16 when he was born. I worked my ass off for him, and we grew up together. I couldn't convince myself that everything was peachy forever, though, and by the time I saw Miranda's name on one of those flyers, the most recent girl he had brought home, I knew that I had to talk to him. I needed to set things straight, give me some relief to my suspicion. I begged God, prayed like a madman that I was wrong. But the more I thought, the more I started to connect some dots. I'd never had one of those girls visit more than once or twice. I'd already caught my son sneaking out at night on multiple occasions. He seemed to always have those hollow eyes whenever he interacted with any of them. When he talked about them, though, it was different. It was like he was truly excited, but not in a normal teenage boy kind of way. It was like, when he talked to me about them, he was fantasizing, thinking about what he wanted to do to them. When I finally got home after a long day at the office, I practically sprinted up the stairs to my son's room to inquire. To my disappointment, the room was empty, and my son was nowhere to be seen. What I did find, though, were the missing person flyers, folded neatly on his nightstand, each one depicting a different ex-girlfriend. Now, if it had just been the flyers by themselves, I'd been able to explain it right away. Maybe he was helping to hang them up. Maybe he had just run out to finish and forgotten to grab them. No. Life can never be that easy. What made me realize that I needed to do more than just talk to my son was what had been written on the flyers. Scrawled across each flyer, in the handwriting that I helped my boy practice with, were complaints. I almost said compliments. Too loud. Too demeaning. Too arrogant. Too annoying. I sifted through the papers, and by the end I had read a total of 7 complaints. A tear found down my face, streaming down the cheek, dripping into my newly discovered smile. I must have been in a trance because I didn't even hear the bedroom door open. All I remember is that faint, quiet, "Dad?" before I turned to greet my son. Emotion overwhelmed me, and all I could think to say as I outstretched my arms for a hug was, "That's my boy." Okay, I didn't expect Dad to be a serial killer too. So this is from Prototype X_X31. Imposter coworker. I get to work, and my coworker is already there waiting for me. We work the night shift at a water treatment plant. We're here to make sure that everything runs smoothly throughout the night. Day crew didn't have any issues today. It should be an easy night, my coworker Nick says. Hell yeah, I reply. I sure hope so. These nights suck. I'm so tired all the time. I walk into our kitchen and I start putting my food in the fridge when I get a text. I pull my phone out. It's from Nick. What? Why would he text me when he's right here? I almost ask him, but I read the message and it made me freeze. Sorry, man. Running late. I'll be there in 5 minutes. My mind starts racing, trying to come up with a logical explanation. Maybe when he sent the text, he had bad service and it just now came through? But that doesn't make sense. He got here before me. He got here early. I walk out of the kitchen and I look around. I can't see him anywhere. Did I imagine him being here? Come to think of it, did I even see his car in the parking lot? No, that's crazy. I talked to him. He told me about day shift. He's probably just messing with me. Maybe he's got some prank planned. I look over at the monitors that show the camera feeds. One of them shows the main gate. There's his car, pulling up. Man, he's really committed to the prank. I start thinking of a way I can turn this around on him. Hey, Nick says. Jesus Christ, I yell, clutching my chest as my heart starts racing. My whole body tenses up. There's no way he could have gotten here that fast. I'm absolutely terrified. Whatever this is, it's going to kill me. I just know it. All I can do is stand there and stare at him, too scared to move. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to scare you, he says. Hey, I'm gonna go for a walk around and check on things. If you need me, give me a call. With that, he turns around and leaves through the door that leads to the plant. I stand there, still in shock, wondering if I'm losing my mind, when the door on the other side of the room opens. Nick walks in from the parking lot, the same one that just left through the other door. I just stand there, not saying a word. Fear takes over again, locking up every muscle. I can't move, and for a second time tonight, I feel like I'm about to die. Hey man, sorry. Traffic was terrible today, he says as he walks in. I'll go ahead and do the first set of rounds. When he walks through the same door as the other one. Am I actually going crazy? I know I haven't been sleeping well, but it's not that bad. My thoughts are interrupted by my phone buzzing. I'm getting a call. Thank you for the follow, Simply. Welcome in. I quickly pull my phone out, half expecting it to be another Nick. I let out a sigh of relief. My boss. Hello? I say. Hey, I know you're probably wondering where Nick is. I'm just calling to let you know he was found dead in his apartment today. There's a long pause. I can't speak. If Nick is dead, then who did I just see? And who did I see twice? Were both of them fake? What the hell is going on? I know this must be tough. If you need anything or want to talk to someone, let us know and we can help. He continues. I won't bother you anymore. Have a great shift. The call ends. I stand there, completely frozen. Am I losing my mind? I saw two versions of my now dead coworker. That's not normal. That's not possible. I scan the camera feeds, looking for any sign of one of the Nicks walking around. Nothing. All empty. I check the security badge monitor. It shows when people use their badges to open doors. I calm down a little. There's no record of anyone badging in. Maybe I am losing my mind. But honestly, that feels better than someone pretending to be him. I decide to try and focus on work when something catches my eye. Nick's name pops up. Twice. It shows he badged in at both doors leading into this room at the exact same time. Those doors are on the opposite sides of the room. Absolute dread fills my body as I hear both doors open at the same time. And that's the end of that one. I'd like to imagine his coworker has an identical twin who just traumatized that poor man and somehow the boss is also in on it. I don't know, man. That's crazy. Oh, hell nah, yeah. Hi, sir. Welcome in. So this is from CRWN, Vic, VIIC. Charlie was right. There are nights in Oklahoma when thunder crashes, and earthquakes shake, and the wind shrieks like a freight train. But Tornado Valley is more than fierce weather. In the storm's eye lurks something worse, something uncanny, something otherworldly. I'll never forget how my Uncle Charlie vanished. My father described his brother as an odd kid. He was brilliant, but obsessed with a single subject, engineering. Charlie fixated on sci-fi films like Star Wars and Star Trek. One day, he told my father that he would build a spaceship and travel the galaxy. My father didn't believe him, but Charlie still built a radio to reach life beyond the stars. That first month, he'd heard only static, but he kept working. He built his spaceship from scrap and engine parts. After a year, he managed to turn it on. Though it couldn't go anywhere, he'd get further on a bicycle. People started to think something was wrong with him, but Charlie didn't stop. Kids teased Charlie, calling him weird. His parents tried to steer him towards other hobbies, but nothing would stop or convince him. Eventually, they gave up. One day, Charlie told my father that he had made contact with a man from beyond the stars. When they tried the radio together, they received no signal. My dad thought Charlie was lying, but Charlie insisted that he was telling the truth. In the weeks that followed, Charlie acted more strangely than usual. He woke early to use his radio in seclusion and claimed to be on a secret mission from the stars. Once, my father joked about the man from the Mars, but Charlie's serious look stopped him from making fun of him again. Soon, Charlie shifted from the radio to working on his spaceship. He gathered parts from around the neighborhood at first. Then, he resorted to raising funds. When it wasn't enough, he resorted to theft, which landed him in trouble. His excuse was, "I'm trying to save the world." Teachers suggested therapy, but his parents said that they couldn't afford it. Charlie insisted that the man he spoke to was real. They finally took away his radio and spacecraft after he told them the spaceman would visit and take him away. His parents reported this to the police, fearing an adult was contacting him. Without proof, the police did nothing. Charlie predicted a storm the week of the visit, though the forecast was clear. Everyone dismissed him, but my father will never forget Charlie's sad farewell look when he asked if he wanted to join him on the mission. The following day was sunny, and they went to school as usual. The science teacher called their parents, concerned after Charlie told her that she was his favorite teacher and that he would miss her. When my father asked about the visit, Charlie told him that he would be picked up early in the morning. That night, the winds rose quickly. Breaking news announced a storm. My father recalled my grandmother remarking on the sudden, unusual weather. The rain was so heavy that my father couldn't see outside, but he heard the trees fall and objects being blown around. It sounded like a freight train as the roof nearly lifted and the windows cracked and burst. Chaos filled the house when the father arrived. They rushed to the basement. After securing my father and Grandpa searched for Charlie but couldn't find him. He finally returned empty-handed. My father swore that he saw a strange glimmer of light behind Grandpa just before the door closed. In that moment, he wondered if his brother had told the truth. Months became years, but there was no clue to Uncle Charlie's whereabouts. This is from Violentin. It's Violentyn. Albert Wesker, where exactly? You know. Every eldest child in my family dies at 21. I'm next. Ever since I was younger, I've known that there was something wrong with my family. Every eldest sibling on my father's side was gruesomely killed on their 21st birthday. My great-grandmother fell off a mountain a few weeks after having my father. My uncle crashed into a semi a minute before midnight. There's no telling what hour it happens, just that it will. The only one who's ever managed to survive was my Grandpa Ed. Being the eldest meant I was the one who would be targeted next. So every weekend and break, I was sent to Grandpa Ed's house to learn how to prevent it. He explained a few things to me. If you hit the timeout, it would come for you. It was a lanky creature that looked like a greyhound. If a greyhound was 6 foot tall and had no face, lanky limbs, and its stomach opened into rows and rows of sharp teeth. He explained that some members of our family had survived up to midnight the day after their 21st, but after they had successfully been safe, it would come and tear them apart. Many chose the former of having a quick, random death instead of getting mauled alive for the slim chance of survival. Grandpa Ed had his arm torn off by it, which is why his sleeve is constantly tied up. He showed me things: how to shoot a shotgun, how to make a salt circle. He had survived by setting the thing on fire, watching it burn alive until the next day had passed. That was the rule. If, and that was a very strong if, you survived, it would skip that generation and go to the next. I spent the next few years dreading my 21st birthday and preparing. A week before my birthday, I sat with my sister and drank. She was headed off to a year-long trip without electronics that night, meaning she would be too far to celebrate my birthday. I think I'm scared. The alcohol made it easier to admit that fact. I was scared. I had been scared. Grandpa Ed had died 2 years before, but luckily it was in a hospital bed because of old age. Don't be, Lydia had replied, kicking my leg playfully. Just remember what Papa taught you and you'll be fine. I could see in her eyes that she was worried too. But if you die, can I have your Nintendo? The new Animal Crossing is calling my name. I snorted and pushed her. Asshole. I grinned looking at her. I'm not gonna die. Out of spite. And now I'm leaving you out of my will forever. Lydia and me had talked for the rest of the night, but after that, I wrote notes. Not suicide notes per se, just death notes. Not the Nintendo, yeah. A little morbid, but there was a 90% chance that I was going to die in a week's time. Sue me. It was random stuff. Good times, happy times. Stuff they'd get when I died. Lydia would get my Nintendo as she wanted. But only if I died though, and she'd have to pry it out of my cold dead hands. My boyfriend had gotten a letter too, as I had explained to him. He had begged to stay, but I couldn't bear the thought of something happening to him. So I prepared. I got the salt, I got the flamethrower, I got the shotgun, I burned herbs and even consulted a local witch who specialized in curses. Hell, I even went on Etsy and ordered a sacred bead or something. Anything to live. And so came the night of my 21st birthday. I had set an alarm that night for 11:50 p.m. I ate a sandwich, grabbed snacks and a fire extinguisher, and I locked myself in my bedroom for the next 24 hours. 12 hours passed with nothing. Silence. I watched TV to pass the time. But nothing. Absolutely nothing happened. No weird wires being exposed, no house fires, no it coming to my door, nothing. After hour 20, I had glanced at my closet. There was a box peeking out. Once I had seen it, but I have never opened it. My mom gave it to me a few weeks before. I crawled over and I tugged it onto my lap, glancing at it. It was simple, covered in drawings, and inside it were letters. I read every single one, and my heart began to clench as I realized what they were. Love letters from my mother. I scanned the pages. She was secretly meeting up with a man named Peter behind my dad's back. During the time her and my dad were married. And then I realized something that made my blood go cold. My mother and Peter were seeing each other about 9 months before I was born, which would mean I wasn't my father's child. Meaning I wasn't the eldest on my father's side, like everyone thought I was. Lydia was. His poor sister died alone, not getting the Switch. Shut up, Mom! I guess you're keeping your Nintendo, yeah. You don't gotta worry about Animal Crossing going to your sister now, she died. That's crazy work. What? Robin, why? Oh my god! What? The gift subs? What? You don't have to give subbies! Thank you so much! What the heck? Thank you! What? I'm just reading! I don't deserve that! What the heck? Thank you so much! Why? Thank you. You're the best. I do? I don't think I do. I'm just a little guy. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. There's like, honestly, there's so many of you for what I'm doing. I'm surprised. Just adopt, dude. I love how Oso is still stuck on that story. You crack me up, man. I don't have to, but I want to. I pay for the premium reading service. Oh my god. Alright. Premium reading service. You get the individual one. DM me whenever you want a story read. Thank you again. Thank you for the follow. Nebron? Is that how you say that? Sorry if I messed up your name. Okami Sky Premium. You guys are great. Thank you guys so much for the support. Alright, let's find another story, shall we? I keep going for ones that have, like, a few upvotes at least. This one looks cool. Okay, we'll do this one next. Want to break from the ads? Do you want to break from the ads? Premium Okami Sky reading? What? Where do I pay? I need me an Okami to read me bed stories? Well... Listen, it's a subscription service, okay? I DM some stories. Thank you, Grim. I might not do them, though, because I have to be careful about what I read, I found out, so... I'll have to look into it for next time. I was, like, very unprepared for this, I found out. So I gotta do my research, I found out. Because I messed up. I, like, explained it in the beginning of stream, but... I tried to, like... I wasn't gonna read from this subreddit in particular. I was gonna read from, like, one that I really like. And, you can't just do that. You have to be very careful about what you read, apparently. Which... Yeah, it makes sense. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together, you know? You still improved pretty well, IMO? What did I... Wait, I improved? Okay. Water, drank. So, this is from Playful Ad, 9608. My neighbor knows things about me that he shouldn't. I've never told him anything. I'm writing this because I need someone else to tell me that I'm not crazy. I moved into my apartment 8 months ago. 3rd floor, corner unit. I picked it because it was quiet and the building felt anonymous. The kind of place where people keep to themselves. That's all I wanted. Anonymous and quiet. My neighbor across the hall, Unit 304, is neither of those things. His name is Brian. I know this because he introduced himself the day I moved in, which, fine, normal. He helped me carry a box inside without asking if I wanted help, which felt slightly off, but I told myself that he was just being friendly. He's maybe 50, average everything, height, build, face, the kind of person you'd walk past 100 times and probably never remember. The first thing that bothered me was small. About 2 weeks after I moved in, I ran into him by the mailboxes, and he asked how I was settling in. I said fine. He said, Good, good. You getting enough sleep? I heard you up pretty late a few nights ago. I laughed it off. Thin walls, whatever. But I'm a quiet person. I don't watch TV loud. I don't ever have people over. If he could hear me, it was because he was listening for me. I told myself that I was overthinking it. A month later, I came back from the grocery store and he was in the hallway. He looked at my bags and said, Oh, you found that new place on the Clement Street? Good prices, right? I had gone to that grocery store the first time that day. I'd never mentioned it to him. I'd never mentioned any grocery store to him. I have had maybe 6 conversations with this man total, and none of them were about where I shop. I said, Yeah, great prices, and went inside and stood in my kitchen for a long time. I started paying attention after that. He knows my schedule, not in a way that I can prove, but in a way that I can feel every time I run into him, which is too often, at times that are a bit too specific. He always is just arriving or leaving when I am. He knows how I work from home on Fridays. He knows that I order food on Tuesday nights. He mentioned once, casually, that he had seen me on my work calls, and that I always look so focused. Which means at some point he's seen me through my window, because I've never told him that I work from home at all. I started keeping my blinds down. Last week when it stopped feeling like a coincidence, I was in the laundry room in the basement and he came in, which is fine because people do laundry. We made small talk. He asked if I had heard from my sister lately. I've never mentioned my sister to him. I never mentioned any of my family to him. I asked him what he meant. He smiled. That same unbothered smile he always had. Said that he thought he remembered me mentioning her once. Said never mind, he must be mixing me up with someone else. I said okay. I finished my laundry and I came upstairs. I checked my door when I got back. Locked. Deadbolt. Chain. I've been thinking about it for 6 days, and I cannot remember a single conversation where I mentioned my sister. I cannot explain how he knows that I have one. There's a woman that I've seen coming and going from his apartment maybe once a month. Youngish, dark coat, always looking tired. I assumed it was his girlfriend. I smiled at her once in the elevator and she didn't smile back. She just looked at me with this flat expression, like she was somewhere else entirely. I haven't seen her in about 6 weeks. I don't know if that means anything, and I don't know if any of this means anything. But this morning, I was leaving for a coffee run and Brian was in the hallway. He looked at me and said, You look tired. Didn't sleep well? I slept fine, and I looked fine. I'd not said a word to him. He just smiled and went back into his apartment. I stood in the hallway alone for a second before I walked to the elevator, and I don't know why I did this, but I looked back at his door. The peephole went dark. He was watching me leave. I'll update when I can. That's crazy. I wonder if they did a part 2 yet. Oh, they didn't yet. Let's see. Ah, no, they're still writing part 2. That's crazy. That's crazy. That was so good. Click, click. So true. I like purposely went looking for the part 2 and I couldn't find it. Yo, chat, this gift sub badge is pretty neat, and if you have one too, if you gift subs to the best streamer, Okami Sky. No. Don't gift subs to me. That's crazy work. Crazy work. And peephole this motherfucker. I feel like they're just, they're playing look outside. You know? That's funny. Alright, let's find another one, yeah? This is posted by Dude It's Brian. My daughter learned a new word at daycare. She won't stop saying it. I don't know if this is the right sub for this. I'm posting from my phone in the car at Harris Teeter parking lot because I can't be in the house right now. If a mod takes this down, I understand. I just need to get it out of my head. My daughter is 3. Her name is Haley. She started at a new daycare in August because I got promoted and the hours at my old place didn't line up anymore. The new place is fine. Licensed, clean. Miss Tasha runs it out of a converted ranch off the old highway, and there's 6 kids and a fenced yard and a rabbit named Butter. Haley loves it. She cried when I picked her up the first week because she didn't want to leave. About 3 weeks in, she started saying a word I didn't know. Moppin'. That's how she said it. Moppin'. 2 syllables. She'd say it in the car on the way home. She'd say it in the bath. I asked her what moppin' was, and she said, Moppin' is the man. I asked her what man, and she said, the man who lives in the ceiling. I laughed. I want you to know that I laughed. Kids make stuff up. My nephew had an imaginary friend who was a refrigerator for a whole year. I asked Miss Tasha about it at pickup. I said, hey, does Haley have a friend at school named Moppin', or is that something from a show you all watch? Miss Tasha's face did a thing. She said, no, honey, we don't watch anything like that. She said it quick. She changed the subject to the snack schedules. That night, Hallie was in the tub and she said, Moppin says you have pretty hair, Mama. I sat on the bathroom floor and said, baby, where did you hear about Moppin? I said it light. I did not want her to feel my hand shaking on the edge of the tub. She said, at school. I said, who told you? She said, Moppin did. I said, Moppin goes to your school? She said, Moppin goes where I go. I pulled her out of the tub early. She cried. I put her in her pajamas and I put her to my bed. Not hers. And I locked the bedroom door, which I have not done since her father left. I laid awake for her until almost 4. She slept like a stone. The next morning I kept her home. I called Miss Tasha. I said I needed to ask her something strange, and she said okay. I said, has a child at your daycare ever talked about someone named Moppin? There was a pause that went on too long. She said, and I'm writing this down the way she said it. She said, that name hasn't come up in a long time, sugar. I said, what does that mean? She said that she'd call me back, but she did not call me back. I drove over there at pickup time the next day, even though Hallie wasn't there. Miss Tasha came out to the car. She would not let me in the house. She said some of the kids over the years have had a friend that they talk about. She said that it's never been a problem. She said if Haley is upset by it, you don't need to bring her back. She had her arms crossed the entire time, and she was standing between me and the front door, like I was going to try and get past her. I asked if there was something in her house. She replied, baby, there's something in a lot of houses. I have not taken Hallie back. That was 11 days ago. I thought, okay, whatever it was, it stayed there. She's home. She's safe. She hasn't said Moppin' in a week. Last night, I went to check on her before I went to bed. She does this thing where she kicks her blanket off, and I always tuck her back in. I opened the door, and she was sitting up, in the dark, facing the corner by her closet, the corner where the ceiling meets the wall, and she was whispering. Haley? Baby, it's late. Lay down. She replied, I know, Mama. I'm telling him goodnight. Telling who? Moppin came with us. I turned the light on. The corner was a corner. Paint and drywall and a little smudge where she touched it with a crown months ago. She said, don't turn the light on, you'll scare him. I picked her up and I took her into my bed and she fell asleep on my chest. I stayed awake. At some point around 3 a.m., I heard something in her room. A soft sound, like somebody letting out a breath they'd been holding in for a long time. One breath, and then nothing. I got up and I got her dressed while she was still half asleep, and I put her in the car. I drove to the grocery store parking lot because I couldn't think of anywhere else to go, and the lot has a lot of lights and people. I'm writing this from the driver's seat. She's in her car seat, eating crackers. She's fine. She's happy. She asked me why we're at the store so early, and I told her that we were going to get donuts. I don't know what to do. I can't go to the police. What would I say? I can't call her pediatrician because I already know how that conversation goes. I thought about calling my mother, but my mother would say things I can't hear right now. Ellie just looked at me from her car seat. She had cracker crumbs on her chin, and she smiled. She said, Mama, Moppin says to stop typing. I have not told her what I'm doing on my phone. And that's the end of that. This is from The Gap in the Door story. My mother keeps knocking at the door. Knock, knock, knock. It doesn't stop. I don't know how long I've been in here. Hours, maybe longer. Time turned soft somewhere along the way, like it melted and slid down the drain with the heat from the bathwater. Honey, let me in. You've been in there long enough. Mom needs to get ready for work. Her voice comes through the door. Calm, patient, the way she always sounds when she's trying not to worry me. I don't answer. I can't. I lie curled in the bathtub, clothes soaked through, the water long since gone cold. My fingers are wrinkled and pale, trembling against my sides. Across the room, something waits. I don't look at it. I tried earlier, just a glance. That was enough. I squeeze my eyes shut instead, like that can undo it. Like if I stay very still, none of this will be real when I open them again. Knock, knock, knock. Is everything okay, sweetie? Come on, talk to me. Whatever happened, we can face it together. I love you. My hands fly to my ears, pressing hard until it hurts. It doesn't block her out. Nothing does. Her voice seeps through bone. I start crying again. I don't remember when I stopped the first time. The sound I make is small, embarrassing, like a child. My gaze slips, betrays me. The body is still there. On the tile, half in the shadow, her head turned an angle that it shouldn't be. Hair stuck to the dark, drying pool beneath her. One of her shoes is missing. I don't remember when it came off. I didn't mean to, I whisper, even though no one can hear me. We were arguing. I don't even remember what about. Something stupid. Something that shouldn't have mattered. She stepped closer. I told her to stop. She didn't. So I pushed her. Just a shove, not that hard. And she slipped. The sound her head made when it hit. I choke on it, on the memory. My stomach twists. It was an accident, I say, louder this time. The words echo off the tiles and comes back thinner, less convincing. Knock, 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 knock. The door rattles in its frame. Open the door, she says. Her voice is tighter now, less patient. Please, you're scaring me. I drag in a breath that doesn't go all the way down. The air smells wrong. Metallic. Sweet. I can't, I whisper. Because if I open the door, she'll see. She'll see what I did. Knock, 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 knock. Whatever you did, we can fix it together, she insists. Mom won't let you fall. Just let me in. I let out a broken laugh that doesn't feel like mine. Fix it? My eyes lock onto the body again, on her face, on the way her eyes are still open, staring at me. I force myself to move. The water sloshes as I pull up from the tub. My legs feel weak, like they might fold. For a second, I think maybe they will. Maybe that would be easier. But I don't fall. I step out, dripping onto the tile. Each footstep sounds too loud, too final. Closer. I stop a few feet from her. The body lies twisted on the floor. My mother's body. Behind me, the knocking becomes frantic. Let me in, let me in, let me in! The voice cracks on the last word. I stare down at the corpse, at the woman who raised me, at the woman I killed. Another knock, hard enough to make the hinges creak. Please, she says softer now, right against the door. I'm right here. My skin prickles. Slowly, I turn my head towards the bathroom door. The handle rattles under her hand. I'm here, my mother says. I look back at the body on the floor, then at the door, then at the body again. Knock. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. I don't think I can stay in this room anymore. I'm tired. I want this to all be over. I think I'm gonna open the door now. And that's the end of that one. This is from Financial Top 6609. I think I killed my wife. She died last Thursday when I hesitated, when I pulled back for one heartbeat when she needed me. I let her fall into the hollow. She was my wife, my love. I know that now. I teach at a university. I'm 43. I'm supposed to be the kind of man who can explain himself. Right now, I can barely close my eyes without thinking of her, seeing images of her. I deserve this. I know I do. I can dress up however I want, but in the end, I'm just an idiot asshole who had excuses. I was living between two women, my wife, Jackie, and Leah. I love them both. That's why it doesn't settle, why it keeps pressing in on me from the inside. Jackie was my wife for 11 years. Okay, so you're a scumbag. Okay. Anyway. She worked in research at a drug company I won't name. Out past the city. Big salary, perfect setup. One of those gray glass places with gates and badges and people who never really say what they do. She was senior there. The kind of smart that never made other people, or that made other people straighten up when she walked in. But she wasn't distant from the research itself. She went deep into it, into the compounds, the trials, the smallest details. She needed to see things herself, not through reports or through other people. I used to love that about her. She was beautiful too, not just to me. Tall and slight, dark hair, pale skin. Why did you kill her? You could have given her to me. Black eyes that lingered on you in a way that stirred something low and hard to ignore. The kind of face that made people turn without realizing it. Even when she was tired, even when she was angry, she had that kind of beauty. The problem was that living with her felt like living next to a wire that was always live. At first it was kind of cute, even exciting, but over the years that faded. She noticed everything. If I came home 3 minutes late, if I showered before dinner on the wrong day, if my shirt smelled like coffee from a place I don't usually go. So she caught you cheating. I have to interject on this story. I'm so sorry. Like, what? Over time, I began to feel like I was suffocating in it. Like the air was slowly being pulled out of our lives. It felt cold. It felt lonely. She never yelled. Sometimes I wish she had. It would have been easier to fight something loud. Instead, she would just look at me for 1 second too long, or ask me one small question in that calm, even voice, and I'd feel my stomach drop. Ice bitch, I used to call her when we fought, and I lost it. When I wanted to hurt her back for the way I felt trapped with her, even though staying was my choice. It always made her livid, but not in a loud way. It was something colder than anger, like an inner kind of crying that never made it to the surface. Dude, your poor fucking wife. What? Once, during one of our usual fights, she looked at me and said quietly, "You're one with the crack in your heart. Behind it, there's just emptiness. An endless swallowing hole no woman is ever going to fill." Bars. After a while, we'd patch things up. Say we'd just do enough to keep going, and slip right back into the same cold distance that our marriage had become. At least we didn't have kids to drag through it. Her mother killed herself after Jackie's father had an affair. She told me that before we got married. We were sitting in her car outside my place, engine off, the windows fogged, the quiet ticking of it cooling down. The street was empty. She had both hands folded in her lap, looking straight ahead, not at me. She didn't cry, of course. "Some people don't survive betrayal," she said. And then she looked at me and added, "And they kill families." I'll never forget that. But I loved her. I need to say that. I loved the smell of her hair when she came to bed late. I loved the rare way she smiled, like I had to fight through stone to get out. I loved how, on good mornings, she would tuck her cold feet under my leg and seal the heat without asking. I loved the softness of her body, the way her skin gave under my hands, and how I could feel the quiet outline of her bones beneath it. I loved her even when I was scared of her, and I was scared of her a lot by the end. Boo, you stink. I love the booing crowd in chat. It felt like living under a constant gray sky. Something heavy pressing down on me day after day, wearing me down, draining whatever was left of my will to live. Like the walls were slowly closing in. And then there was Leah. Leah was 28. How old was he again? You're 43! She's 28! I hate you! A graduate student... It gets worse. A graduate student at one of my colleagues. Of one of my colleagues. Not a child, but she's 28, bro. But young enough that I hated myself the first time I wanted her. Good! What am I... This is making me mad, man. Okay, I gotta lock in for relaxing. She wasn't in my classes, thank God, but close enough to my world that it made everything worse. If Jackie ever found out I was sleeping with a graduate student, it wouldn't just wreck my marriage. It could wreck my job, my name, my whole life. This is a thing that you should have thought about before you made your shit decision, bro. What? Oh, God damn it, man. What the heck? Leah was nothing like Jackie. Jackie was all angles and stillness. Leah was soft where Jackie was hard. Honey-colored skin, thick blonde curls she kept tied up and letting down again. Wide mouth, warm blue eyes. Small golden earrings that hung like something old. She laughed with her whole face. When she listened, she leaned in close, her breath brushing me. And there was something unusual in the way it smelled. Something I couldn't explain, but it pulled me in. She was a cloud of warmth and sun. Jackie made me feel examined. Leah made me feel wanted and desired. Okay, buddy. Yeah, your fucking, like, rich-ass scientist wife who picks up on all of your small details does not care about you, even though she's, like, making more money than you. You've made that abundantly clear. I fucking hate this guy. When does he die? And yes, I wanted her. I wanted her badly. The first time she... this is making me feel so icky. The first time she touched my wrist in a cafe and asked if I was alright, I felt that touch the rest of the day. It wasn't just sex, though God knows there was that too. It was the feeling of my body unclenching around her. With Leah, I could breathe. I could say stupid things. I could be tired. I could sit in silence and not feel judged. That's how it all started. And then it turned into something real. A fucking affair. Yeah, you did that, buddy. Good job. I always thought I wasn't that kind of asshole. Wrong. Loud incorrect buzzer. Turns out I was. Loud correct buzzer. And the worst part is, she made me happy in a way I hadn't been in a long time. What episode does he die? What do you mean? Dude, this is the first story that's actually like getting my blood going. Not because I'm scared, but because I'm angry. I'm trying so hard, chat, to be relaxing. I'm so sorry. 3 months. 3 months of deleting messages in parking lots. 3 months of checking my collar and mirrors before I went home. Erasing Kate Bush and the Weekend songs from my playlist. Little traces she left behind without even meaning to. 3 months of coming back into my own house with my pulse hammering, wondering if tonight was the night Jackie would look at me and know. She almost caught me more than once. A blonde hair would have been too easy. Jackie had dark curls like spilled ink. I got careful about everything, brushing off my clothes, checking myself before I walked back in the door. Instead, it was the smaller things that gave it away. Orange hand cream on my skin, a motel receipt. Who considers that small? Dude, you're just, this guy, dude. A motel receipt I forgot inside the pocket of my coat. One night, my phone lit up on the table and Jackie glanced at it before I could turn it over. She didn't say anything for a full minute. And then she asked, "Do your students usually text you after midnight?" I said Leah wasn't my student. I don't know why I said that. Maybe because some part of me was already confessing. Jackie just looked at me. She said, "That wasn't my question." I was a shitty husband. Not just because I lied and dodged questions. The truth is that the marriage had gotten so heavy to me that I stopped really seeing what mattered. Or I saw it and I didn't act. A little before I met Leah, Jackie had already started looking unwell. I asked once, maybe twice, if she was okay. She brushed it off and said that she'd been to one of the doctors they have at their facility. She said that it was nothing, just that this new drug at work. Long hours, pressure, and everyone running on fumes. I took that as permission to look away. To stay out later, to spend more nights with Leah. Even then, even with Leah, seeing Jackie like that got to me. That's the part people won't understand. I still wanted her. Not in the way I wanted Leah, not anymore. But I'd look at my wife and still see the woman I had once wanted so badly it hurt. Leah finally forced me to choose. We were in the room she rented outside of town. She'd told everyone that she had a workshop, some excuse like that, sitting on the bed with takeout cartons between us. She's looking tired, worn down in a quiet way, like someone who's been waiting for too long for a man who keeps going home to someone else. "I can't keep being the place you hide," she said, and all I could think about was burying my face in her thick golden hair, disappearing there like old Guns N' Roses song. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. He's horrible. I want the girls to get together. I looked at her, her pretty bare feet tucked under her, my sweatshirt hanging off of her naked shoulder, her face open, her still gentle. I'm like rushing to read it now because it's making me mad. "So?" I asked. "So either you leave, or you stop coming." I swallowed, feeling something in my chest tighten, and said, "I don't know how to do either." She looked at me for a moment, like she was about to say something and then changed her mind, and instead leaned in, a little uncertain, and kissed me softly, her hand resting on my arm as if she wasn't sure I'd still be there. That same night, Jackie asked if I'd come with her to a cabin near that lake in the north. 2 nights. No work. No excuses. Just us. It caught me off guard, of course, but I should have realized that she knew more than she let on. The owner of the cabin told us not to go too far out on the ice. "It looks solid until it doesn't," he said. The next morning, while Jackie was in the bathroom, Leah texted me, "If you mean it, I'll wait tonight." Jackie came out and saw my face. She didn't ask to see my phone. She didn't need to. Who is she? She asked. I lied. Badly. She stared at me for a long second and then said, very quietly, "Don't do this to me." She put on her coat and walked out towards the lake. I followed her. The air burnt my throat. The show's... What? Oh my god, Myth, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome in. Hi, raiders. My name's Okami Sky. I'm a ghostly wolf VTuber. And, we're reading some scary stories from Reddit. Currently, this one is actually very irritating. Very, like, morally not great. But I hope you guys had a great stream. Thank you for the shout out. I think Juan did it, right? Thank you so much. Playing Devil May Cry? Oh my god, that's exciting. I hope you had a great stream. Thank you so much for sharing your community with me. We're doing some chill vibes today, so I'm not as chaotic as I normally am. Morally not great. Yeah, so this guy so far, TLDR, is cheating on his wife. So we already hate him. Chat has already established we don't like him. Oi, thank you so much for the follow, Myth. I appreciate it. If you also need to raid and run, I completely understand. Please take care of yourself, okay? Hi, Tapwater. Hi. I'm very sorry if I'm not reading chat because I gotta lock in and read story, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoy your time here. We're doing chill vibes today. This is something I've never done before, so yeah. If you guys have any feedback, feel free to let me know. I love the vibes already. You look so cute and your voice is so amazing. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's very sweet. I appreciate it tons. Thank you, thank you. Right, let's get back to this irritating story, shall we, chat? I followed her. The air burned my throat. The snow squeaked under my boots. She looked so thin in that dark coat. So beautiful. So breakable. She stopped near the shore and turned to me. "Who is she?" she asked. I couldn't answer. That was an answer enough. She nodded once and turned away from me and kept walking, quickly. I saw the darker patch ahead. I knew what it meant. I remember that clearly. I knew. "Jackie," I called. "Come back." I wasn't sure that she heard me. She kept going. I pressed my lips tight, and then the ice cracked. The sound was sharp and wrong. She dropped hard, one leg through, and then both. And suddenly, she was in the black water, up to her chest, clawing at the edge. Her face when she looked back at me. Jesus, I dream that face every night. It is my eternal punishment. Part of it. Thank you for the follow, Alpha. Thank you. I ran. I did run. But for some reason, it wasn't the right way. There was 1 second, maybe less. One small, filthy second when I thought, if she dies, I won't have to choose. And then I moved. How does this character keep getting worse? What? I got down on the ice, and I reached for her. I felt it break under me, too. I felt cold water hit my hands like knives. She grabbed my wrist once. I can still feel her nails. And then I jerked back to keep myself from going in. And that tiny backward move was enough. By the time I lunged forward again, she was gone. Afterward, there were sirens, people, a blanket around my shoulders. Someone said her name, and someone said mine. I don't remember much else. I drove straight to Leah. Of course you did. You fucking dickhead. I needed her. That's the ugliest truth after the ice. My wife had just died, and I drove to the woman I was going to leave her for. Her door was unlocked. That felt wrong the right way, but it still pushed open. The room was too bare. No clothes, no books, no bag on the floor. Not messy. Emptied. I took a few steps in and I saw it. Her sink. A badge. A familiar shape before the name even hit me. Jackie's name. Under it, 3 small glass vials in a case. And beside them, a sheet of paper. It wasn't addressed to anyone. but I knew that it was meant for me. I don't remember the note word for word, but everything started to blur, like I might pass out. But if I remember what it meant, it was something that she couldn't say to me, maybe something I was never meant to read at all. She used that experimental drug to change herself, to become softer, warmer, someone that I could love. Leah was Jackie. Jackie was Leah. I still think I lost a little more then. You know that feeling, when everything goes quiet and far away, like you've slipped just outside of yourself and you can't get quite back in. I remember gripping the sink, trying to steady myself, trying to make it make sense. I told myself that Leah and Jackie were the same woman. Tried to hold that thought in place, but it wouldn't stay. It kept slipping, like my mind just wouldn't let those two women settle into the same person. At the end of the note, she wrote that she saw it clearly, that I didn't love her, that I loved the drug and what it turned her into, and knowing that it broke her, but she couldn't stop. She was addicted to being the only version of herself I ever chose. I see it now. She was right. There's a hollow in me that even true love can't survive. Fuck you! I hate this guy. He's the worst. Worst pro tag ever. I'm gonna add my little improv at the end there. He dies at the end, a horrible, painful death. Horrible, painful death. She comes back from the dead, and she comes back to life. Leah becomes her own person as well. The girls get together. It's good Yuri, and then they kill him. Zero sympathy. He sucks. Yeah, he does suck. He's horrible. L character. The story was fine. I just don't like when fucking characters are shitty. No remorse at all. The ice breaks beneath him, actually. Yeah, true. She baits him. Crazy work. Let's find another one, yeah. Let's see. What's this one? No. I hate my brain. I'm so picky with what I read. Because I also need to be interested in it, you know? Alright, this one looks okay. Let me take a drink of water. Nom 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 nom. So this is from Artful is Life. The woods call for me. I'm the type of person who likes to live alone. It's better this way. Quieter, cleaner. No one's watching. No one's asking the questions that I don't want to answer. I stay in a small cabin, pressed up against the stretch of woods I've never gone into. I don't need to, or whatever's in there can stay there, I used to think. How foolish. My family are traitors. All of them. Always wanting something. Always pushing. Zoe, hun, you need to take your meds. Zoe, have you been doing well? Meds, meds, meds. It's all they ever cared about. Little pills that hurt oh so much. They act as if I swallowed enough of them, I'd become someone easier to love. As if I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. So I left, and it's better here. It really is. The words weren't anything special at first. Just trees, shadows, winds. Winds that sounded like breathing if you stood still long enough. But then it came. I don't keep track of the time anymore. It's a pointless construct. But I remember that it's night because of the dark feeling wrong. Not just darker, but thicker. Like it had weight. Like it was leaning against the cabin, pressing its face to the windows. I could feel it before I heard it. That lovely noise. It woke me up almost immediately, as if it would run from me. I make sure once it would stay there, it was everything. Perfect. Smooth. A sound that didn't belong to anything natural, but it didn't feel wrong either. Just better. I rushed to the window, heart racing in a way that didn't feel like fear. and I saw nothing but the woods staring back at me, black and endless. But I knew it came from there. It had to. I grabbed my flashlight and I ran outside, stopping just before the tree line. The beam flickered, weak and useless, like the woods were swallowing it whole. So greedy. The light didn't reach far enough to show me how much it could show. I should have turned back. I know that now, but I didn't feel afraid. I felt chosen. After that, it came back every night. Always the same. Always waiting until everything else was quiet enough to hear it properly. I started writing things down so I wouldn't lose anything important. Sticky notes, scraps of paper, the walls, whatever I could find. It always comes at night. It's in the same direction every time. It gets louder when I listen. That one matters most. If it means something, it means it knows I'm there. Sometimes I think it stops just to see if I'll notice. I always do. It's been quiet lately, though. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that buzzes, like something is holding its breath. But tonight feels different. I can feel it again. That pressure, that pull, like something just beyond the trees is waiting for me to stop hesitating, waiting for me to understand. I'm going back into the woods tonight. I have to. This is the only time I've ever felt understood, like something is reaching back when I reach out. Not my family, not like the pills. This is real. That lovely noise will call for me again tonight. I know it will. And when it does, I won't stop at the edge this time. I'll follow it, deeper and deeper until I find it. Or until it finds me. I think you need your pills, Zoe. Be real. I don't think you should go wandering around in the woods by yourself. Sounds like bad news, if you ask me. If you ask me, mayhaps I'm just paranoid or something, but the woods don't sound very good. Oh, this one looks fun. Okay, I think you guys will like this one. But the woods are fun. I enjoy the woods, but I don't need medication, you know? So this one is from Trash Tia again. Our goat. I'm stuck on a never-ending game show. There's one question in particular that I can't answer. Contestant number 0, would you like me to repeat the question? There were tallies carved into the flesh of my skin. I stopped counting when they surpassed 1 million. 1 million cuts. 1 million questions. 1 million times I tried to die. My clothes were filthy, fretted and glued to my skin. I wanted to scream, but my mouth wasn't allowed. I wanted to cry, but if I did, I would be punished. How long had it been since I ate, drank, took a bath? Across from me, Layla was trembling behind her podium lit up in a neon light, her eyes unseeing, lips curved into a silent cry. If I didn't open my mouth in the next 30 seconds, we were fucked. I risked a glance at Jude, who was trying not to fall asleep, half-lidded eyes flickering. It was really hard not to look at the giant cavern in his chest where his heart had been yanked out. Jude's punishment for not knowing. Who sang the song, Hit Me Baby One More Time? Well, you should have known that answer, to be fair. Unfortunately, Layla also landed on the revival prize. Contestant number 0. Straightening up, I smile widely at the cameras, trying to ignore the iron chains wrapped around my ankles. The answer is Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds? Oh my god, why did I say his name so fucked up? Come on now. Ding! That's 100% correct. Boy, I'm gonna die in that show? Dude, me too. Me too. The host turned to the imaginary audience, and I had the sudden overwhelming urge to break the laptop playing fake applause. The large screen above us lit up with a personalized prize. I almost collapsed when I saw death. If I played my cards right, I could finally die. All of us could die. All right. To win all these prizes, you must answer the golden question. She winked. However, this time you have the ability to ask a friend. No. Jude's frenzied eyes found mine. Skip it. Shut up, Jude, Layla hissed. Can't you see what they're offering? It's clearly a trap. He slammed his buzzer, struggling in his own chains. I'm okay. I can answer it this time. I tried to smile at my fellow contestants, but they refused to look me in the eye. Jude glared down at his podium, shaggy dark hair obscuring his face. Layla pretended to inspect her fingernails, but she was shaking. Well, all right, the host giggled. Why don't we bring back Luke? A body bag was dragged in. Inside, the remnants of Luke, contestant 6, who was force-fed battery acid for losing 600K. Luke's body was thrown in front of me. The dead boy's eyes flicker open, confused. Okay, contestant number 0. For $7 million and all prizes on the screen, please answer the golden question. If you need help, I will allow you to pass the question to contestant number 6. Jude face planted his buzzer. We're so fucked. The host's smile widened, slipping right off her face. Contestant number 0. Also, Connor. What was the name of the child of the 6 you brutally murdered? Ooh. And it ends there. So they're being tortured for being bad people? Interesting. Hydrate? Okay. Thank you, Slimy. You almost fell asleep? You're very comfy? Well, that's good. That makes me happy. Like I said, I don't know. If I can just make you guys comfy, then I'm winning. I'm doing something right. So hell, basically. Yeah, pretty much. Alright, I think we read maybe like one more or so, because I can feel my throat starting to like... I'm yapping a lot. I'm just constantly reading. Top tier stream? Oh my god, you guys are so nice to me. What? So this is from Minty Lemonade. We don't do that. Dahlia was 7 years old and 4 months old. I hate when people do that when they're like, oh, I'm 7 years old and 4 months. I never got that. Anyway, Dahlia is 7 years and 4 months old. This last detail was of importance for her, as it proved that she was older in the one group of her friends. Okay, well, never mind. There's a reason. Okay, fair enough. She liked the hierarchy advantage that came with it and used it to her advantage when she needed a reason for others to listen to her. Dahlia, look! That was Mika, Dahlia's best friend. She was pointing her finger at Jimmy Peterson on the other side of the courtyard. Jimmy was about to run straight into one of the benches. Thanks to Mika, Dahlia turned just in time to watch the whole scene unfold. That's what you get for running while looking the other way like that, Dahlia managed to say amidst all the laughter. Who cares? Said Mika as she kept laughing. It was common for Mika to make sorts of remarks, but Dahlia didn't mind. She actually agreed with her. She barely managed to keep it together when she saw Mika's finger pointing straight out at someone like that. If it hadn't been for Jimmy's whole stunt distracting her, the words, "Don't do that," would have come out of her mouth almost of a life of their own, and she hated that. Truth be told, Dahlia's mom was very strict with some things. In general, everything at home was fine most of the time, but her mom would just be so annoying about some particular things. Dahlia used to do as Mika and point with her finger a lot. She wasn't very good at communicating, so she would constantly point at things and get people to get her point across. To be understood. Dahlia's mom hated it when she did that. We don't do that, she would say with words sharp as knives. She controlled herself when Dahlia was younger, but as she grew, she showed her true disgust for this gesture more and more. Now she grabbed Dahlia's wrist before she could even raise her arm and give her the look that could kill. We don't do that, she would say as if stabbing Dahlia with each word. Still, Dahlia didn't hate her mom for it. She's usually so nice and normal, you know? she would tell Mika sometimes. It's like some things just flip a switch for her. The part that made Dahlia feel for her mother, though, was whenever she would say, "Don't ever let your grandfather see you do that. You hear me?" Dahlia had it rough, but she knew by now that her mother probably had it worse. Her mother made it clear plenty of times that it would be much, much worse if it was her grandfather and not her who saw her pointing her finger like that. She could sometimes even feel some sort of pain in her voice. "I think it was worse for her, being a kid with my grandpa as her father," she would tell Mika. "Why are your folks like this, though? It's just so weird. Why do they even care that much?" Is that what Mika had to say? That is what Mika had to say to that. Her family was different from Dahlia's. Dahlia loved that Mika was like this. It made her feel things that were normal, at least while they were in school. See something, sorry, Jen, I'm just looking because I thought... Never mind, I'm being silly. Anyway. How long had it been since she at last dared to disobey her mom just to be free like Mika? When was the last time she pointed her finger at someone when she felt like she did when she was younger? She unconsciously grabbed her wrist at the thought. That Saturday morning, as she ate her cereal and laughed, a little remembering about how Jimmy Peterson fell running into that bench, Dahlia's mom walked in. "How's the cereal, love? Remember, we have to be at Grandma and Grandpa's house by lunch. I want to buy a couple of things at the local store here and take it to us in an hour to get there by car. Don't take too long on that cereal or we won't make it in time. There's lots to do," she said without waiting for a response as she dashed away. On the car ride, Dahlia couldn't stop thinking about Jimmy's fall, but that's just a lie she told herself every now and then to feel better. What she really couldn't stop thinking about was Mika, her finger pointing freely without a care in the world in Jimmy's direction. How long had it been since she was free like that? Since she didn't care this much about her mom and what she had to say about it. "Let's go, hun. Grab something nice for yourself while I get what we need to bring over to Grandma and Grandpa's place, okay?" said Dahlia's mom. They were already to the store. Dahlia wandered through the aisles looking for something yummy. She found a couple of things she liked and walked back to where her mom was. She tossed the items into the mom's basket and stood next to her while she talked to someone she seemed to know. On the other side of the store, a man talked on the phone with his back turned to them. He was a bit loud and moved his free hand while he talked. "I want to do it," Dahlia thought. And just like that, while her mother was distracted, she raised her arm and pointed at that man. For a brief moment, she felt bliss and a wave of liberation, but it didn't last long. As if he knew, the man turned his head and looked straight at Dahlia. She knew something was wrong. The man didn't turn around. Only his head did. Time seemed to stop. The man's eyes abnormally open, and he looked straight into Dahlia's eyes. She couldn't look away. The rest of the man's face was expressionless. Dahlia started to feel the air turn cold around her. A chill ran through her spine, and the man slowly started tilting his head sideways. As he did so, his mouth began drooping down at the corners. Her heart was beating fast. She felt like no matter how fast she would breathe, enough air just wouldn't go into her lungs. When the corners of the mouth of the man had gone too far down, Dahlia was already sweating. His head was about to be completely horizontal. "Dahlia!" Her mom scowled at her as she grabbed her wrist. How long had it been? What happened to the man? Dahlia looked, and he was talking on the phone with his back turned to them just like before. What just happened? Did she imagine it all? Dahlia quickly looked at her mom. The woman looked back at her daughter for a brief moment, and without letting go of her wrist, she dropped the shopping basket and bolted out to the store. "Get in the car. We need your grandfather. Now." Maybe she pointed when she was a kid and her dad had to save her or something. And that's why granddad's the goat, maybe. That's what I think of, right? Grandfather, the absolute unit, saving them. That's my headcanon. That is my headcanon. Surely that's what it is, and he's not evil. That makes sense? Yeah. That's what I think. Well, that's what I think. I agree. I'm glad. Man, I'm so excited for the, Am I the Asshole ones now? That's gonna be fucking hilarious. I wouldn't expect that one to be as relaxing as this, just so you guys know. Prepare yourselves for that. I feel like I'm gonna be a bit more, like, loud. But I think it'll be fun. It'll be very fun. I wonder if there's a way I can do, like, the polling on screen so you guys can see the votes coming in. I'll have to figure it out and look into it. It's gonna be good content. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It'll be kind of like the guy story. The guy story? Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, that story, I was just like, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, fuck this guy, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. True.